Oh yeah, welcome back, me Immortalites. And for a long time we haven't been outdoors here in Brizzy. We are in South Bank. This is Meanderings, a chance for here at the Me Immortals podcast for us to have conversations that are more open-ended. It's philosophizing in the park, a little bit of whatever idea comes to mind, what's been happening over the last couple of weeks. You've got Juan on this side of the mic.
Karen here on Sunday, 17th of September.
Oh, beautiful. Like, the year's going by fairly quickly. I've got a little interesting quip to begin us with.
Okay.
Have you ever used a gyro ball or one of those flexi balls? They've got different names that you use for your wrist.
Yes, I have.
What was the purpose of you using that?
So my friend Brendan has it, and he was saying it was just building up wrist strength, because basically you spin what you do is you it's kind of like a race car. You know, those toys, you drag them back and it builds up some like pent up energy, which then shoots it forward. It's kind of like that for those who are just wondering. You shoot it forward and then it starts spinning in your hand, and you kind of have to like rotate it with your hand to keep the momentum of this like inner gyro ball that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So wrist strength was what I believe.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't particularly think it is for
okay.
it. In fact, it is, well, it could be, so I'll say maybe, perhaps. But I've been using it over the last month now, no, less, maybe 3 weeks, to try to cure or help out the tendonitis / tendon tear that I've got. Specifically, they are sold though for tendon problems, although they are sometimes said for RSI or repetitive stress injuries in your hands.
Okay,
so
forearm strengthening perhaps was also part of that.
Yeah. Now, when I do use it, and say to give you an example, I have been feeling, realistically, it only takes you a minute of using this type of gyro ball, and you described it well. And not at the fastest pace it could possibly do, but just enough of a good pace, that after a minute, I go, wow, I can really feel it, as you say, in the forearms, but more specifically in that tendon space. Well, for me, it's probably because it is a tendonitis, and so there's that extra pain there. But I go, hey, after a minute, I can really feel it. But what it got me thinking was, here's an accessory which, generally, if you're a big gym goer, you don't really think of getting something like that particular tool to be used at the gym. I've never seen anyone at the gym using it. But there was one day where I went, I'm just going to try and using it on both arms, just because it's on there, the one that I've got, it says, hey, 1 minute a day, all you need for a strong hand and strong forearm.
Yeah.
Right. And on this particular day, I might have used it 7 minutes, 10 minutes on each arm, let's just say. And at the end of the day, I had a massive forearm pump. Not just forearm pump, but I could feel the strength of my hands, forearms, even in the tendon. I went, wow, this is like dramatically different. Very different in comparison to, I've been to the gym, I've trained and done, your curls for your forearm curls, or the reverse ones, or with a cable, all those sort of things. And I went, this one was by far more effective, more efficient.
Okay.
And it got me thinking, is there, at least for me in my space, is there other tools that I'm not using that are just really quite beneficial? I've seen the maces, like people using the maces and especially taping up their mouth. There's a lot of videos around that if people want to go check it out.
Some bonders and stuff.
Kind of, but what it's supposed to be like, one, you're breathing through your nose for better breathing mechanisms.
So I've seen I have seen in the gym a wild spotting a fair while ago of a guy who had one of those. It expands your mouth out and has some holes in it, so you're basically breathing as if you're like. And I don't know if you've ever done a lung capacity test or something like that, where you put your mouth over it's about the size of a 50-cent coin or Australian 50-cent coin, look it up. And you put your mouth over that and you just have to breathe as hard as you can. It's like...
Yes, yep.
And it's like your soul's being sucked out of you. I think he had a thing which was similar to that, which was supposed to just make everything harder from what I could tell, because he's breathing. Okay. So that was a breathing specific thing, which I'm guessing is kind of what the tapes do, just to force you to use your nose. Exactly.
I mean, that guy sounds like an idiot, because he should probably go and read James Nestor's Breath and a few other things, because that's just stupid. Like, that is actually ridiculously stupid. So if you're listening to this, well done.
I'll find you the toy that he was using. I'm sure you can find it online. I'm not sure what it promotes though.
Yeah. But there's different equipment that I've known starting to go into some certain gyms. You go to some specialized gyms and they have a lot of other items which are really cool to use. Like,
what's the mace though? What's the deal with that?
So the mace is, in the way that people utilize it, so first I'll describe it, is essentially, think about it, a mace or a big hammer. It's got a heavy weight at the end of it, circular usually, although it can be different shape, with a long stick, kind of like you're holding an axe. and you're supposed to hold it with 2 hands, and you essentially swing it around your body. So you'll sort of swing it down, move it over your head, around your back over your front, and it's supposed to be weight, but in a movement pattern that you barely use, and I guess maybe simulates the style of using an axe to chop some wood or swinging a hammer. So it's a different movement pattern than I guess you might be used to in a normal gym movement type. And look, I'm not hitting it. I've never really done it properly before. But I go, hey, that gyro ball really, really did improve, or at least I'm feeling it, really is improving my forearm and the strength around it. Is it a case that I'm missing out on some extra gains or some extra fun with some other tools out there that I don't know? So, I mean, one, my call out was Mere Mortalites. If you do use a tool out there, or mace, a gyro ball, something equivalent at the gym that you find really quite fun, let me know. I want to know about it. I want to play around with it. I go to a couple of gyms that have a lot of different equipment. I barely use a lot of them, so let me know about them. Have you seen in handstand world, is there any tools or equipment that are strange, different, fun that you go, when I use, or that you have used in the past year that you've gone, that was really impressively different? Like for me, obviously outsider, I didn't realize that just like blocks of wood would be that much of a big thing.
Yeah.
But apparently they are.
Yeah. So just in the handstand world, there's like 3 things to use. There's parallel bars, blocks of wood, and then just the ground for the various hand positioning. That's like the main 3. Nothing too crazy. It's been stuff that's replicated, I suppose, elsewhere. I've seen people with the just hard balls that they roll on, so it's all the rolling sort of thing.
Like lacrosse balls.
Yeah. That sort of deal. Obviously, a lot of use of bands. I carry my stick around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I took it to the gym yesterday, and people would be like, "Kyron, why are you bringing your own stick to the gym? What's wrong with you?"
Do people actually say that?
No. I just imagine that's what people say. Like, it's very... How many people do you see walking around with like a stick, kind of like cane type deal?
I can get around it though. I can get around it, to be honest, because in some other gyms, using a PVC pipe is really good for a warm up and a movement. So it kind of makes it look like a sensei. Like it's nice. It's a teacher. Sensei Dezu Karen.
Yeah. Look, once again, you'll see about how this is something I'll talk about later. Me making assumptions, but. There was no one in the stick from the gym had mysteriously disappeared. So multiple people came up to me yesterday asking to use it. Are you done with it? I'm like, well, it is mine, but you can use it. Just make sure you bring it back.
Yeah, that's nice.
So stick, handstand specific sort of thing. I haven't seen any crazy stuff, but I know there's people out there who are peddling
weird, strange things.
For sure, like this will improve your handstands in 20 minutes or sort of thing. What I'm showing Juan now is the what does it say? It was
expend a lung breathing fitness.
Yeah, and that was the kind of thing this guy was wearing. Check your screen if you're watching.
The biggest thing I'm getting now from reading Breath from James Nesta, and there's a little...
You're reading that right now?
I'm reading that right now. Cool. A little hot take of that book. It's making the top 5 books I've ever read, first of all, it's weird, dude. I don't understand how it's such a good book, first of all. But a lot of the information within, it's not demonstrating a lot of journal articles and the like, but by first principles of biologic, it's showing just the importance of, oxygen through nose, but also the carbon dioxide in the body and a few other things. Really interesting, really, really interesting book. Really, I've been enjoying reading that one, so stay tuned for that book review. But I want to ask you something slightly different from here. Skill sets or skills. Is there a skill recently that you have acquired over the last few months that you haven't shared with the mere mortals? Because a lot of the stuff that we've been doing in Musings, this is a direct topic. Is there something fun or exciting that you've started doing that's new, that you've been trying out at all? Might be no here, folks.
Yeah, nothing crazy comes to mind. It's all just like the little gains. There's some handstand things, which it's a way to move the body of a visualization or something that'll help you engage certain muscles at certain times. Mm-hmm. The shoulder press, for example, I'm finding I've got to think of it more as like a little bit of a swinging motion, pushing at the right time, and I wouldn't say there's a skill I've acquired recently.
Okay.
No. Okay. Perhaps just the public speaking stuff has expanded since the wedding. I feel much more comfortable.
Have you had a chance to do it again?
Not really, because I didn't go to the Bitcoin event that was around here recently. But I think just speaking with people in general, it's kind of I don't know, just
Become
felt
easier.
yeah. I felt much more comfortable.
Okay, that's
Not
nice.
that I
That's
was
good.
uncomfortable. How about you?
Okay. Two things. One, so I don't know if I did talk to you about this or not, but I have talked about it with other people. I went for a run, so finally got over the sickness, which is good. And it's kind of nice I'm doing Meanderings in motion because it's keeping me to fucking do the 12 weeks of running.
Okay, yeah.
Which, between us, we've done running before. It's not like we love to do it for that long a time. Right now, just with, one, sickness, two, tendonitis, it's a good thing to have to be doing.
Yes,
so that's
for
awesome.
sure.
Now, on a Sundays are usually supposed to be the long run. So a little summary for people. Mondays I do a really relatively long but slow run. Wednesdays interval runs. Fridays speed runs. Saturdays supposed to be long runs. Didn't do it yesterday because I'm fucking tired and there was a truckload of things. So I'm going to do it today.
Okay,
I'm going to do
cool.
it today. Now, but those long runs, 2 weeks ago, when I was getting back, last week, I went, I've got to do a long run. I didn't want to do it. I was still getting over the sickness. I'm not going to do that. But we went to New Farm area. Is that correct? Yes, New Farm area around here in Brizzy. And I put on my good running shoes. So I've got some good running shoes that I got from last Christmas. And I went, okay, I'm going to run a mile here, first of all. Then I'll come back. I'll sit down for 5 minutes. I was there with my partner and little girl. And then I'll run again. I'll do 2K or something like that. And my idea was I want to see what happens when I run as fast and as hard as I can for that first mile. Sit down, relax, and then go out on a slow jog and just get 2Ks. Because what I was trying to understand was, okay, are the shoes going to improve this? Is it going to be a completely massive difference between a really fast pace and a slow pace in terms of my efficiency or how tired I get at the end of it? Try to improve then going for a bit longer. How big do you think the discrepancy was between the fast run that I did after a mile, 5-minute break, and then the slower 2 kilometer run? People don't know a mile, 1.62 kilometers, 1.61 kilometers, and then I ran a 2K.
Well, knowing you, it'd be something stupid.
Maybe by pace. It's 3-minute per, 3-minute pace, 4-minute pace, 5-minute pace, 6-minute pace.
I imagine that what you do is that you run hard and you gas yourself because you get excited. And so your first one kind of sucks because you're not pacing yourself well. And then the second you actually are pacing yourself well. So I could even imagine the second being quicker, honestly.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Karen got close. It wasn't better for sure. And we see a runner there, I think that's Karen's mate? No.
Nah,
Although I did see him running earlier as well. Yeah. So I was like, the first one was faster than the second one.
Okay.
But not by much. Yeah, not by much. It was a 10-second difference in the pace in terms of the minutes per kilometer.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot. And, it was an extra 400 meters to the run. But I went, wow, that second one felt so much easier. So much easier than when I felt like I was going really hard. And I think that was the first time, I think, from the skill set of running, I felt it like it impacted my whole body. I went, okay, I can see the benefit of a more efficient running form or running breath or whatever it is that I was doing. Now, I don't know enough about running to be able to detail you to right now exactly descriptively what was the differences, what was the A step, was I extending more? I don't know. I need to look into that more. But I could feel my skill set just slightly improving the running. I went, okay, I think I know right now what I can do for a pacing perspective. So that was fun. That was good. And the other one, which I haven't actually talked about to anyone on the podcast, but following on from my monthly goals, I have to be doing it first before I actually call it out.
Good.
So I'm on the train now with Japanese learning. So It has started formally. I'm now quite a few days into the Japanese learning. And the way that I'm trying to maintain the French, and there's a new experience for me of trying to maintain another language that I'm trying to learn, was I'm putting more of an importance on the Japanese learning now. So it'll be, from a Duolingo perspective, 2 to 3 lessons a day. And then I might do 1 lesson at minimum in French. So as long as I'm doing 1. Maybe I'll do more, but at the moment it's just like the bare bones of just keeping it going. I will eventually get into the reading the French book that I've got of The Little Prince, the French edition. But for now, I'm starting to put in a little bit more effort into Japanese. Already I can say this is so much harder than just learning the French. I went, okay, this is very, very different for me between, I guess, a Latin-based language where I can kind of see the similarities with, oh yeah, I get this, I get that. Not the case with Japanese. I go, whoa, okay, this is a whole nother kettle of fish. And it's challenging. But this, I'm going to start leaning into, I guess, some of the ways that you've probably taken up learning German and to try to keep the Spanish. Probably not as the intensity that you're doing, but to go, okay, how am I going to try and maintain? Because I could very easily see French just deteriorating really quickly. And in fact, I did it today, and I struggled really hard to do just the one class, which was like a summary class. It wasn't even a brand new learning. So yeah, it's very difficult. And again, so this is a call out father that's going to there's got a lot of learnings in this, but if you have any suggestions around the way that I'm doing it here, especially if it's Duolingo based, let me know.
Yeah, honestly, I have been surprised by how little how the deterioration hasn't been as quick as I expected. I think this is kind of people they like to hype it up because it's kind of it just makes it more interesting rather than this blasé bland. It just gradually decreases over time. So my Spanish, for example, it's certainly not as good as it was when I was doing the reseñas in Spanglish, and that was probably 2 years ago, maybe even a bit more. And yet it's still in there in my brain enough. Sure, I forget some words, sure, some stuff doesn't come out, but I really haven't been doing much. I don't read Spanish books anymore because mostly I found them not as interesting. Fair. Or at the very least the boom period, the Latin American boom period. So go check out the Mere Mortals book reviews if you want them. Honestly, I don't have much suggestions other than I think it just comes down to time. If you're just doing a little bit, you're going to keep a little bit. Obviously, you're not going to improve, but yeah, I think all of the tricks and techniques, the amount of time you spend trying to find all the tips, tricks, and techniques, if you just spent those 5 hours across a year just doing the French,
probably better.
It's probably better.
True.
Yeah. It's once again, it's like that polyglot thing where you kind of, a lot of them are the ones who are talking about, keep your language, keep this, and they've got ulterior motives for
doing down that path. Yeah, for sure. Look, I'll just be happy again. My outcome is at the end of the year, my annual goals from an August perspective towards August 2024 is I want to be able to read a book in French. Sure, there's going to be a lot of words that I won't know. But if I'm able to comfortably read, pick up, and essentially be able to absorb some new words, understand sentences, I'll be like, yep, cool. That's where I'm happy. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll want it to go more from a language perspective. But I think we've talked about it in previous podcasts, and we talked about it during my annual goals, that it's more of I just want to know a little bit of languages, not to its absolute deepest depth, but it's more understand some quite common words and being able to use them in an everyday space.
The thing I can say about book reading, this is something I have investigated, was if you want to enjoy reading the book, you generally need 90 to 95% comprehension already of the words being in it, and then you can fill in that 5-10%. You see a word you don't know, but you're like, it's likely to be this, it mean this. When it gets below that, that's when I think it needs to be treated more as a study type thing. I'm not sure exactly when you're imagining reading this book, are you imagining it like how I was doing with Cien Años de Soledad, 100 Years of Solitude, which was very much way I was writing it down. I was spending, I've got to do 3 pages per day. Very different, I guess, because that book was fucking huge. But
yeah, look, I'm planning, my initial ideas around it is to grab the book page by page, translate it to English, and at the same time that I'm doing that translation, doing my own type of note-taking around the book. Obviously, it is a good book, and I want to kind of get the learnings that are out of it. But I want to do one pass where I translate it to English, understanding, the words and the usage, and then I want to read it one more time, hopefully in full French, without then having to refer to it. And as you say, maybe 90-95% of comprehension, so I just go all the way through.
Which you should do if you've read it through once. You'd be able to just
comprehend what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. Keen to see how that goes. But
we'll see.
Yeah,
easier said than done, but yes.
One hitting up the Japanese on Duolingo. How's Japanese Duolingo?
It's fine.
Same sort of deal.
It's the same sort of deal. Obviously, it's because I don't understand the language of Japanese as easy as I would with French, just in the pronunciation. So often when I'm listening to it and I'm trying to put down what they're saying, I'm like, man, they're not saying this. What is going on? This is not what they're saying. So that is a hard challenge. And also with Japanese, it's, you've got both the pronunciation, which can sound in an English way, but you've also got the characters. At the very start right now, they're not real. I mean, the characters are shown as well as the English translation or the vocalization. but it's not being taught to me right now. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be understanding. Like I know she has long hair, and that character. Am I supposed to be recognizing that character translates to this and that pronunciation? Okay, she. But there's some other ones where I go, man, I don't know. And there's a separate section as well for the katana as well. And I go, do I have to learn that? I have no idea. So still very early days. I'll get to see probably next few months just how good it is doing it through Duolingo.
Once again, I think Duolingo is going to be good for your purposes, which is you don't want to be conversational. If you want to be conversational, Duolingo is just not great because people don't speak like that. Instead of saying
even right
para,
now,
they say pa.
The very, very beginning lesson in Japanese and Duolingo is teaching you green tea, rice, sushi, water, and then the next movement is saying it's green tea, it's water, it's green tea and water, it's green tea and water, please. It's like, man, I don't want to be saying it's green tea and water, please. Like, what is this? This is not even a conversation. Sorry, anyway, in any case, you're right. It's more about understanding the concept and words, not dialogue.
Yeah, correct. If you want more language talk, Pete and I did a chat. It'll come out a week after this one comes out. All right, Juan, we're getting into my favorite topic.
There we go.
Everyone knows this is coming up. NPC streaming. I am still fascinated by this thing, man.
Okay, still going?
We talked about this, a month, 2 months ago?
Yep.
And I was initially going to make this a kind of a highlighting of the negative effects because it is very similar to value for value. If you think about a lot of the things, there's people exchanging value back and forth. It's a digital content creator. There's the feedback loop going on. People can choose different amounts, so it's kind of got the value, subjective thing going on. But I've got a whole show for that, so I won't get too deep into that sort of things. But there's this route. Do you know why there are so many videos on YouTube of people walking into elevators and pressing the button, it going up to a level, them exiting it, and that's the whole video? No context, no speaking. That's just the whole video.
Oh, no.
So there's a whole lot of them, and then there's a whole lot of other similar ones with people opening doors and ASMR. Do you know why ASMR is so big?
What it stands for?
Or not what it stands for, you know
big?
what it is. So ASMR, for those who don't know, is when you get real close to the mic and you're like making sounds or and they've got these really expensive, I think they're condenser mics, where it's really designed to create a full audio experience.
Yeah. Well, I can assume it'd be for, the feeling or the audio file feel of, that sounds different, and the proximity. That's what I would assume.
So I was listening to this YouTube channel. What was it? I think it's called Colin and Samir. And these two American guys, and they talk a lot about marketing, about YouTube, that sort of thing. And they had this guy on who used to be the dude who created the YouTube year in review sort of thing. I can't remember what it was called, something like that, which they discontinued because people were getting angry because they didn't cover what they thought was their big trend. But YouTube's just so big, you can't cover all the trends. But what he was saying is a lot of these videos are, for example, for people with autism, they find it really relaxing. Seeing someone going into an elevator, pressing a button, just watching it go up. These ASMR videos are very similar for people with, I don't know, autism type mental disabilities or disabilities, I guess. And I found this really interesting, and I thought that kind of linked to the the NPC streaming, which was, with the technology now coming out, are we being, so I had numerous questions here. Are we going to be exposed to an onslaught of human behavior that was hidden? So, for example, the TikTok, the NPC streaming, is this behavior that we always were going to do, wanted to do, but you could never do like a live show of this because you just couldn't get enough of the people who would watch this into a single room or a stadium or whatever. Is this technology, we're being molded by the technology, so the end outcome of TikTok is NPC streaming? We do have to, like, the technology is forcing us to kind of behave like this? Or, is this just a natural expression or outlet that now can be exposed. You know, we didn't realize we wanted these sorts of things, but now we can do it, and so it's like, here it is.
Yeah.
What's going on with this stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's number one. I mean, definitely, I don't think it's something that all of a sudden it's what we wanted to do, for sure. Because I think if you take away one aspect of it that makes it substantial, like the monetary side, are people going to still be using it? Like, let's say you could do it through TikTok, but now you get no money. You just have people doing it by sheer virtue of someone sending you something and you react. I think it would...
Yeah, so the value has no monetary aspect at all, and it now becomes, you know, you're just serving a community. They're making this well known to you, not through monetary form, but by other forms.
Yeah, I think it would. Yeah, I think it would pull it back for a large amount of people, for sure. I think one aspect. Two, I think it is technology that does shape, which then connects to the third around. There is technology makes it easier to get a reaction. So from an action, you get a reaction. That probably linked to just whatever dopamine aspect of success that you deem that you were wanting, you achieve it really quickly. So for them, you know, if you're watching an NPC and you send something and you get to see them perform that something, you go, oh wow, this is great.
I'm
like,
having an effect.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm making this hot girl do something.
Yeah, like I'm directly influencing this.
There's this guy who does glizzies. Have you seen this one?
Glizzies?
Yeah, he's getting these hot dog emojis. It's kind of like a piss take on the NPC streaming, I think. Right. And he's like, oh, glizzies engaged. And then he's basically like... and then he does all these funny things where it's like, oh my god, it's a glizzy invasion. And then it... and doing all this, it's fucking hilarious.
See, that's good. I'd probably see something like that just for the funniness of it, like taking the piss out of the whole thing. But yeah, I'd probably say it's a combination of, you know, technology shaping us to do that because it's giving us that availability. It doesn't take away that, you know, similar from value for value. If someone sends through a comment about something and sends a monetary value, and then we react to it, it's in a similar way. You know, they've put an action in, they get a reaction quite quickly. Obviously, the next time that we have a conversation, and so they enjoy that, they find that as a beneficial. There is an incentive for people to do that. So it's the same thing in what you would see in an NPC streamer. It's like, yes, you're getting a direct reaction, so why wouldn't you want to do it? But I think it's definitely molded by the technology allowing you or giving you that feedback straight away. I'm sure, you know, I'm not going to come up with some random other idea that isn't NPC streaming, but you could imagine some other form of something coming up that it would be the same thing, so that, you know, people would really want to do it. I've not this exact thing, I guess I would see, but I've seen it in like some other weird way. But like whiteboards, you know, you could have someone really, really popular. Let's just imagine Kylie Jenner, and she goes on TikTok and says, "Hey, if you send me whatever this heart that's worth $100, I'll write your name on this whiteboard, and I've got space for 10,000 names." And then at that point, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to keep it in my house. People would send all their fucking hearts for that, right? And then there's the other reaction. And I think that's more so driven by the technology, the access. You know, if you do the exact same thing about, you know, I don't know, Joey comes to Brisbane and says, "Hey, I've got a whiteboard. I'll put 10,000 names." How many people are going to rock up to that? No one's going to do that. So there's aspect of the technology influencing that for sure.
I used to have a real big break in my mind between technology, which influenced the world more in the physical world. So in the sense of a new method of extracting coal gas from a seam, which produces a 5% efficiency.
Yep. That
sort of deal. Versus a social technology like Facebook, which influences it's not influencing the real world, it's just people's behavior. That it's not kind of creating something, or the creation is this ephemeral digital product of two people, you know, it's literally just some numbers in a database, that sort of deal, versus, you know, you're actually getting more coal seam out. But the more I think of it, the more I'm feeling like all technology is just it's kind of reflection on human behavior, because what does the getting more coal seam gas out eventually do? But it basically just means people can now use more energy. So what ways are they going to use more energy? Are they going to use it to, I don't know, buy more expensive equipment in their house that they can use? Are they going to use it to make themselves more comfortable? Are they going to use that energy to, I don't know, you know, change their job? Or there's all sorts of things where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, actually, everything is just coming back to humans again.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
It's just a different time scale, perhaps. You know, the time scale of Facebook coming up and you sending a message to someone, they sending it back, and then you're getting into like online Twitter arguments or NPC streaming, watching 3 hours of a girl just go, ice cream so good, yum yum yum, versus the Colseam thing. That time lag of you experiencing the benefit of that is going to be, I don't know, years, decades perhaps.
Yeah, the speed of it definitely is like a factor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it influences, I guess what I was saying, technology affects that. It's the speed, it's, waiting years. It's, you send something, you get it, and it's like, oh man, amazing. I'll do it again, I'll do it again, I'll do it again, I'll do it again.
Yeah, there's, I know there's some books where it really dives into technology and describing it more as technique. I don't. Yeah, I'd have to read. It sounds like one of those philosophy books that's maybe just beyond my grasp at the moment, but I'm kind of like trying to get towards it a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's just
a
little aside there. Yeah, it's. I'm going to embarrass myself if I keep speaking. So
okay.
Dave Jones talks about it. So yeah, I'll.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get to Nashville early and then hang out with him. To Alabama early and then hang out with him for a bit if all things work out well.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I had was we've had some recent life events with I just like changes, I guess, in our lives, and check out the episode after this. Well, aside from that, one thing I'll give you about life is like there's always something new to notice. Even if life isn't changing dramatically in your world, I still feel there's just so many things that can crop up. So, for example, just this week, I discovered how badly I make assumptions. This was really made obvious to me in certain contexts. I'll talk more about that in like the monthly goals and things like that. I discovered a fatal flaw of Juan just yesterday, people. Just yesterday. Yeah. And it's this flaw which is, it's good in some senses, but we experienced the bad one yesterday, which was if you listen to the audio quality of the conversation you had with Emily, you'll notice Juan's isn't as good as hers. And basically, like, Juan went to the studio and I set up everything, man.
Was all set up.
I got the glasses, I cleaned up the room, I put the cameras roughly where they should be. I'm like, I gotta make this good. Because Juan could fuck this up.
And he still did.
And he still fucked it up.
Well,
but the main thing was like the audio. Juan was having trouble connecting the audio, and he thought the mic was broken.
Well,
it's not working.
No, wait. Well, I will put a caveat here. I haven't actually checked the audio yet to check whether it was actually terribly bad.
So you might have accidentally got it good.
Because when you sent me, so then I asked Karen. I went, hey, like I think I've stuffed it up. Mustn't have done. When you sent me the video of how it's set up, it's exactly how I set it up.
What you did.
However, I had two recordings going. So for those who, there's a bit of detail, but you know how you've got the mono, choose like encodec 1. I just went mono encodec 1, mono encodec 2. Both of them were just transmitting the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just very, very minor amplitude on the actual audio file.
Interesting.
I think I might have, by sheer luck, actually gotten it right.
Okay.
But we'll wait to see. But for sure, it was one of those where there wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough space of time for me to practice with it enough. There was a few other things that I was like bouncing around and dealing with, and then she got to get there early. So it was got to rock and roll now.
Yeah, that was probably the most annoying thing. But it was very much like I could tell you were in this mood where you're like, nah, like I got to do this thing. Which is very, very Juan-like, very assertive, very. This thing's not working at this moment. What's the next problem? How can we solve it? What's the quickest way to do it? And there was something in my mind, and we had a quick call, and I knew, like, I pretty much knew, like, if Juan gave me 5 minutes, I think we could fix this. But you were already dead set on,
already like, nah,
moving on.
Yeah.
I've already moved on mentally. This is how it's going to be. And I think that, that's like your fatal flaw, man. I've never.
Yeah, good point.
It's a good thing in some senses, but this was one of the ones where maybe it worked out well. But
I don't know at this point. I have no idea at this point if it did or not.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But so that one, for example, like I've seen it before, but I only really noticed it yesterday. I'm like, damn. There you go. Juan's got this thing. EMDR therapy. I'm reading this book at the moment called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's all about kind of PTSD, trauma, that sort of things. From this guy. It's kind of like a historical document as well, because he was practicing when PTSD was first being an actual thing.
Yep.
When it was coming out as
being termed as that.
Yes, correct. And there was this thing, what was it? It was like eye movement desensitization something. And it's basically they'll wag their finger in front of your eyes as you're talking or bringing up a strong memory from your childhood. And it's kind of meant to help dissociate or acknowledge or get you to talk about these things without having the emotional reactions or the physical reactions that make these, being raped when you were 8 years old by your dad, sort of traumas, those really, really terrible things. And being able to speak about it or coherently recall them in a manner where you don't go into fight or flight survival mode. And then also a bit more research about how it's kind of like, it's a bit iffy on the iffies of its effectiveness.
Right.
And it's like there's always just so many things in life to notice. That's one thing I've noticed this week. There's a lot of things to notice.
A lot of things to notice.
Is there any like little insights you've had recently, or is this something that occurs to you? Do you think on like a weekly or monthly basis where you just have a thought or you realize something and you're like, man, that's so interesting. I could have seen this years ago. That's kind of like what I was trying to imply with the changing thing. It's not even that life has changed. It's just you've now noticed something which has always been there, and you're like, I get it. Or it's like another little piece in the puzzle. Another one. I'm pretty sure that I wake up in the morning based on temperature. I always thought it used to be like the light hitting me in the face, but I'm kind of realizing
like
recently.
You personally feel that?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no scientific basis.
Because like scientifically, that is correct.
That it's
actually by temperature, not light.
Okay, cool.
So light supports the circadian rhythm, but it is temperature that wakes you up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And puts you to sleep as well.
This is something I never knew, and I haven't researched this, so I don't know.
So for people at home, if you want to show you one, it's completely true.
Okay.
So if you want to essentially go to bed, you need to cool down to go to sleep, right? That's what you have to do. And when you're waking up, you have to warm up. So one of the techniques you can do if you have trouble falling asleep is to have a really hot shower. Why? Because what happens is that your external temperature gets really hot, your body tries to compensate and makes the core temperature cooler. Then when you go to bed, you're actually cold, you fall asleep quicker.
Yeah.
But before you fall asleep, if you actually were able to track your temperature of your body, you start warming up a few hours before you actually wake up to then get enough of the cortisol actually kicking in, and then the circadian rhythm of the light triggers all of that.
And so to wake up, should I have cold water?
Yeah, splash on your face. Yeah. Wake you up real quick.
Yeah, it's like not
for the same. I don't think it's the same. Non-mechanical. It's not the same energy systems that wake you up, but it'll wake you up.
A little trap door underneath your bed, which has a ice cold ball.
Yeah, that'll wake you up right away. Yeah, okay. No. Well, I was gonna say for me, I'd probably say, what you're saying, like daily. Honestly, I think at the moment, it does help. Obviously, having a kid is very different.
Well, you're going to notice so much
honestly,
with her, right?
But even before her, I'd say for the last few years, I'd say that sort of feeling, I would say hits me at least hourly. At least hourly. It would be maybe even more, because even on the drive here, there was something. As we sat down, something. As I went, I had to go quickly run to the shops, something. And they are tiny little things where I kind of, but it's just in the noticing of things. So I'll give you so it doesn't have to be like a huge thing.
Yeah, it's not like a revelation.
I was going across
having these hourly
revelations of life. Yeah, no. So it was like, I ran across the road and I went, I've actually just recognized the location of this Woolies to this thing and to the ground area. Actually, I thought it was a lot further than that. Something like that.
Yeah.
On the drive here, it's about recognizing, actually, I put the pen always on the seat and it always falls off. Why do I do that? I should just be able to put it here. So I'd say for sure hourly, and especially with like a kids, man, it just make it even faster. Even like this morning, we had our second swimming lesson with her, and so through that is, you could be doing this. Oh, actually, I didn't know there's this that you could be doing. Oh, there's this, blah, blah, blah. A bazillion things. So, yeah, I'd say the longer I've been alive, the quicker that's becoming. So maybe it's scary. Maybe I'll be 80 years old and it'll happen every minute. I'll be like, whoa, what the hell? Yeah. Like all of a sudden seeing the world, the light. But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of those. Not revelation. I wouldn't call it revelations.
Yeah, revelation's a strong word.
There's like there's
moments.
I'd say there's I'm piercing the veil towards a deeper understanding of many things all at once, much quicker than I was many years ago. And it's becoming easier to accept a lot of that deeper understanding. Maybe part of it as well is I'm more curious now than I was many years ago. Perhaps it's to do with where I actually focus. So, many years ago, I might have been like, well, no, I wanted to focus on where I'm making the most money, where I'm making the most X, where I'm being able to get the most energy, where I'm getting all my gym sessions. Whereas now, maybe a lot of the mental aspects of me thinking it's where I'm curious, where it's exciting, where it's whatever. And that's allowing me to find maybe slightly deeper understandings or just noticing things much better.
Okay.
So
yeah.
There's a bit of that as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You won't be able to notice everything everywhere all at once. That's definitely
no. I mean, your brain would explode.
Yes.
I think your eyes only have a maximum limit of the amount of like data points that they can actually absorb all at once. So when you're walking around, you actually can't physically see everything that is around you. You're only absorbing a fraction of.
No, you can only focus on one thing at a time. That's when you think of your eyes moving across left and right. It's not a smooth motion. It is you're fixating on these tiny little points each time.
Well, but yes, but even when you're like focused on one spot and you don't even move your eyes, you actually aren't gathering every single data point that's coming into your eye. It's only the percentage amount that then your brain just computes together and makes into like, hey, this is what you're seeing. Rapid
movements for sure, probably bright things as well.
Sure. So look, honestly, it'd be interesting. Me and more lights out there. Do you experience something similar? Are you getting? Maybe that's a terminology of getting wiser.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what wiser is to know more and more, of being curious, of accepting the differences that are coming to you. Because I could genuinely see someone who high ego, doesn't want to accept things. Maybe those sort of things might come on a daily, weekly basis, and they just don't accept it. They go, no, I'm still going to put the pen in the back of the seat, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, maybe you're not wise.
Yeah. Okay, last one. This was a fun one I had a couple of days ago.
Okay.
You've got the ability to either shrink or enlarge your size to any possible dimension, and you will survive. So all the aspects of needing to breathe air, of
all taken care of.
Yeah, all of that. What size would you choose to experience? You don't have to stay there. It's just
okay, I was going to say, so you get to experience it.
Yeah.
Okay, very small.
Yeah.
Very,
How
very,
small
very,
are we
very
talking?
small.
Are we talking like, one the size of a...
I'd like to go down to the size of like string theory.
Atoms?
Is string theory real? Yep. I want to get like atoms or quarks, although, when you get to that size...
It's just empty space.
It's just empty space. The distance between things is just crazy. Like if you actually look at the ratio between the nucleus to electrons at that size, it's like massively different. So maybe I just end up in empty space forever.
Yeah. So say you can go to like even smaller, like, the size of Planck's... What is it? Planck's constant? Or
Planck's length.
Yeah.
Planck's length is the smallest length of space you can have.
So say you go down there and you're just like...
Get smaller than that.
Well, yeah, you're just hanging out there and you're like, is there actually any ground? Is there anything here? Or you're just... Or it is just completely... Like,
empty
do you see anything? Obviously, this is where it's like physics comes in. And it's like, the wavelength of light is so big compared to that. There's no possibility for your eyes to be able to see.
Would it be a wavelength at that point because it's photons?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You're just
what is
getting
it
hit
there?
by photons.
I don't know. Maybe you couldn't see anything. Maybe you couldn't see anything because you're too small. You're smaller than light particles, so there's nothing to see.
So I was like,
would you go small or big?
I'd go small, but honestly, like, I wouldn't go that small.
What if you went like the size of the universe?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're using a black hole as like a glory hole. So, or even bigger than that. You get.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
You're so big, and then you actually you accidentally hit your head on the roof of the universe. You're like, oh shit, there's actually a roof. I didn't realize.
Yeah, that might be fun. Either way, I mean, both of those would be. I don't know what sort of physics you would have to denote for such a thing to exist. Both the small and the large, but I go towards one of the extremes.
Yeah. See, I do you remember Facebook in 2009? There was a little bio thing on the left where you could just put in something there, and it could be a lot of people would put in a quote or their favorite movies.
Kind of, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
There was. It was just this random thing on the left-hand side of the page, and I remember I put in there. If I was a giant, would trees feel like grass? So I would probably either choose to be moderately bigger or moderately smaller, where it's
I think the answer to that's no, but
but There's only one way to find out, man. You know, it would.
I think you can find out straight away. Like, what? You don't need to be big to find that out. The different material.
No, but I'm just talking like, you know, the stem of a plant. If I was the size of an ant, you know, the stem of a plant's a pretty thick thing, of like a leaf or a piece of grass, right? That stem, that'd be pretty strong. It's not like you could just like.
Yeah,
bend. It wouldn't feel as soft to us. So, you know, a tree, sure, it's got like this little stumpy point here at the bottom, but you know, if my big toe is the size of a park, would it feel like grass? That sort of deal. And then also vice versa, if I was the size of, you know, a thumbnail, and I'm wandering around just like, you know, fucking jetting around in grass and stuff, would that feel like being in a forest? I don't know. So I wouldn't go that big or that small. I'd just go like moderately bigger and smaller. This
probably summarizes as well how we like some of our mentality as well. Like I thought
I don't know what it means, but
I thought your answer was going to be something around like that, and mine would always be towards the extreme. Like it would have to be either one. It wouldn't be some like intermediary position.
Some therapist is like analyzing this, going, this all makes sense. I've got this. I know these two human beings.
Okay, now they're going to be like, we're going to get them in for that. What is it that I
what was it? EMDR therapy.
EMDR therapy. Sign us up, folks. All right, we're going to leave it there, folks. Thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, outdoors. We haven't been doing Meanderings for a while, so thank you for joining us. How can people support us here at the Mere Mortals, Karen?
Yeah, so we do the value for value model. So we just ask that for all this wonderful, fantastic value you've received, that you just give it back to us. Many forms you can do this. We're asking a lot at the moment for you to share the podcast. So if you find anyone who you think would enjoy this, the clips that will eventually be created from this, you know, joining any of the social links that we have to keep updated, just sharing it with someone. If you've got a talent, if there was anything that we said that was particularly wrong, I'm sure there was a couple of things. For example, the glizzy thing. I don't actually know if that guy is taking the piss or if he's actually serious.
Genuinely doing it.
I've only seen some clips of it, so I'm once again assuming here that he is taking the piss because it's funny as hell. But maybe he's like, no, this is a genuine piece of art. This is my life's work.
Yeah.
I've trained for years to become the glizzy master. So if you have watched his streams,
maybe people watch our podcast thinking we're doing a parody of a really shit podcast, which is out of fun, and then I realize we're doing it genuinely to make a good podcast.
I come across way too often memes of being
yes. I know what you're gonna say.
It's like, why did they should ban podcast equipment being sold to like two guys.
Yeah, or it's like, you know, every white male doing a podcast, and it's like, well, you know, if I had to theorize it and the probability of going to this, and it's a very good idea.
I came across one the other yesterday, where it was two guys, Asian though, and one's like, you know, have you ever thought like that the upper body is just the same as the lower body? You know, the fingers are the toes. The wrists are the ankles, and then he's getting real deep. You know, the mouth is the butthole, and then the neck is just the penis shaft of the head. It's just like
this was a parody. There's like a parody fun thing.
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea, and all the comments of this were just like exactly the memes like. There should be like regulations banning
on selling podcast equipment.
Exactly.
Wow, we got in, folks. We got in. So we're about to hit 4 years.
No, I think we're over 4 years. I think it was
19th of September.
I thought it was the 15th that we released our first episode. So I'd have to go back and check. But
it's over 4 years.
It's 4 years. It's 4 years now. So congrats to us for that. If you want to send in the final way you can send in a boost. So
for 4 years, we'll accept 44,444 sats. That's that's what we can send through.
Yeah, apparently 4 is like is it an unlucky number in Chinese culture or something? Is that right? I think it is, or 8 maybe.
8's a lucky number.
8's lucky. Number. Okay, I think 4 is maybe the same as death, or it's similar to it, but I don't believe in that shit. So send me lots of 4s.
Send me lots of 4s. Yeah.
So the best way to do that is by a boostergram, which you can do in a podcasting 2.0 app. There's quite a few of them out there now. Go to podcastindex.org/apps or newpodcastapps.com, and you'll find a bunch of them there. I really like Fountain. That's still probably my favorite of the bunch. And you can send us a message directly to this episode. We receive that. We talk about that on our live ones. Give you a shout out. Thank you. You make our own little wall. If you send in 100,000 sats, which at this very moment is about $44 Australian, you get a shirt coming your way. So
wherever you are in the world,
wherever
edition shirt,
you are in the world. And you can also use the PayPal link, which is down below. I'd appreciate that just because no one's used it before. So you could be the very first. You could still be the very first to send us a PayPal donation. You will go down in history, much like Chad F has gone down in history as our first Boostagrammer. So
it's like going to say something like, much like, I don't know, like Abraham Lincoln or like Churchill, like Winston Churchill or something like that.
Yeah, the first time electricity was harnessed.
This is an equivalent.
Benjamin Graham with his kite experiments, and
this is the same thing.
You could be there. You could be immortalized as a mere mortal.
Fuck.
Immortalized.
Who doesn't want that?
Shit.
All right, that's it.
All the links are down in the show notes below. So yeah.
Good. All right. Immortalized. Thank you very much. We'll leave it there. Thank you. One out.
Karen out. Bye. Joy.
Bye.